I don't even know where to start, Gareth. So much has happened. Like I came into this thinking, okay, we're going to talk about Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, and then 4 days ago, I get the announcement or the news on my phone. Everyone's DMing me and messaging me that Dillian White had failed a test and he's out of the fight with AJ. Is AJ still fighting? And then AJ is fighting. He's going to fight Helenius. What should we start?
Let's start with the big news because it is germane, it's salient over these last 24 hours. Let's start with applause for Anthony Joshua, who deserves a great deal of credit, Eddie, for taking on the danger of the Viking Robert Helenius on 5 days' notice in what is a no-win situation for the two-time heavyweight champion of the world. Especially, I think, given that mental scar tissue that will remain after that first catastrophic career defeat in June 2019 at Madison Square Garden, New York. There are echoes here of his nemesis, Andy Ruiz. And Helenius will be playing that card to the full. Make no mistake, this is his opportunity to shock the world, have a big payday, and get back into the frame. I applaud Anthony Joshua for taking this fight. I heard in the background, he's desperate to fight. Isn't it terrible how one move from the wrong person in a really big boxing fight can just bring the house of cards down? Applause to DAZN not making it a pay-per-view, a regular show. Yeah. Applause to Eddie Hearn and all of them for keeping the entire card together. We've got a really good 4 heavyweight fights. Looking forward to it. We're all working on Saturday night. Some of the fans are a little disgruntled because they bought hotel rooms and they bought tickets. We'll pick over the bones of all of that that's happened today. But for me, they've rescued a successful event. I think it is, and it's the right opponent.
Agreed. That's a fantastic answer there because obviously a lot of fingers have been pointed about to AJ. Like, why not fight Hrgovic? Why not fight Ruiz? Why not fight Bakole? AJ could have easily said, I ain't fighting anyone. I've been preparing for Dillian White for the last 12 weeks. That's who I'm going to fight. He's not fighting me. Why should I stay on this card? But he's decided to stay on the card. I want to circle back a little bit. Dillian White. Obviously, look, this isn't the first time Dillian White's had an issue with regards to performance-enhancing drugs. Obviously, he's pleading his innocence. He's released a statement on his social media platforms. Whether or not you want to believe that and break the bones out of it is, I guess, a discussion for another day. If Dillian White is found to have, cheated, is that it? 35 years of age, he's been given numerous opportunities. I mean, Dillian White's always a person that bemoans the fact that I don't get opportunities. What he does, he's been on numerous pay-per-view events, had a world title shot. He would have made 7 figures fighting AJ. Surely, if he is found guilty of this offence, surely that's it for Dillian White in high-profile boxing.
Well, you say, surely that is if. We need to know, I mean, I'm not party yet to exactly what the drug was that was found in his system. I think that will come out in the next few days or weeks. I do want to know what it was. He's pleaded his innocence. They moved with alacrity to cancel the fight, but not the event. I think once bitten, twice shy. I know we'll hear from Eddie Hearn about that, but they weren't going to go down the same route as the Chris Eubank Conor Benn fight. Although Eddie's explanation, which we'll hear later in the show, I believe, and we'll discuss, there were 2 promoters involved. It was a co-promotion, that event. Matchroom were promoting this event, so they were able to draw the fight straight away, pull the draw out rather, to not have the fight. Look, let's go over the history of this. Dillian White was exonerated in 2019 for the picograms that were in his system leading into the Oscar Rivas fight. There was a hearing on the Saturday morning of the fight, and he was exonerated. So we have to be clear about that. The mistake that day was they didn't inform Oscar Rivas' team that he tested positive for something. He was banned for 2 years or suspended for 2 years for admittedly taking an over-the-counter supplement in 2012 that contained a banned substance. If it's a serious substance and he can't prove that it was a mistake through a tainted supplement, he's in trouble. He's in big trouble. At 35, he could face a 4-year ban. But I'm not going to... That's as far as I'll speculate. because I don't know what the drug is, the banned substance
Agreed.
is. But, it's
No, agreed.
not a great look for him. It's not a great look for the sport. I mean, Dan Raphael, and I don't know whether this is going to be held up or not, is claiming it was multiple
Yeah.
positives. We'll see about that. But Dillian's going to be in a mess right now. But it did cause chaos as they scrambled to find a new opponent. But I repeat, he is proclaiming his innocence and dismay that he wasn't able to defend his corner as well.
The heavyweight division is crazy, isn't it? I mean, look, me and Gareth have been speaking about the nonsense in the heavyweight division for the last 6 or 7 months. It's starting to clear itself up a little bit. So we thought. Dillian Whyte failed a VADA test a few days ago. In steps Robert Helenius. AJ will fight him and stay on the card, which is fantastic. As Gareth said at the top of the show, DAZN have removed it from their pay-per-view platform. It's now part of your regular subscription. So that's a thumbs up to DAZN as well. Let's talk about the possible opponents and whether or not AJ's picked the right one here, Gareth. There was a lot of talk about Agit Kabayel. The names Andy Ruiz was mentioned. We know Hrgovic is on the card, so he's fresh and ready to go. Derek Chisora, which I thought was ludicrous, was mentioned. And in the end, they picked Helenius, who fought last week, 2 rounds in his comeback fight after getting blown out by Deontay Wilder. It's a very bad case, what's happened. Is this the best fit for that case?
Definitely. Martin Bakole, too problematic an opponent. Flip Hrgovic, too tough on, obviously he's the number 1 IBF, and Flip Hrgovic probably wouldn't have wanted this. Well, there's jeopardy for him, unless he was getting 5 million quid. Obviously, Dillian Whyte's thrown away a couple of million quid here by what's happened to him. I would say thrown away, that he's lost a couple of million quid. Very serious situation for him. Robert Helenius fits the bill because he's taller than Joshua. There's a yardstick that can be measured. Helenius went out and tried to fight Deontay Wilder last October and got caught by a hellacious counter left hook by Wilder. And Joshua's really got to impose himself against this fella. There's still some jeopardy here for him. How he manages this fight mentally is very important. It's a sign of where he is. I think Helenius sells okay because he has beaten 3 former world champions. He's got a loss to Dillian Whyte and a victory, which I disputed at the time, on points over Derek Chisora.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think he won that fight. But Helenius has got power, but not the greatest chin. So it's an interesting fight in lots of ways. It's not a gimme. It's not a foregone conclusion, but it's a fight in which Anthony Joshua needs to impose himself. I think they've done well to rescue the event, and I think DAZN have done the right thing by not making it pay-per-view. You haven't heard the fans screaming their disgust today after it was announced, or yesterday as it was after it was announced. So they've made the right moves. I mean, I had a long chat to Eddie Hearn. I know you've interviewed him today, but I spoke to him on the phone this afternoon as well, and he said it was a big toss-up over what they did, but Joshua was desperate to fight.
Indeed. Let's hear from Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn was in the talkSPORT studios yesterday, going back and forth with Simon Jordan, but spoke about the shock of Whyte's adverse finding, which obviously eventually led to Helenius stepping in.
Received the news. I was on the East Coast time. The official news come in. The first we heard about it was around 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, and got the news that Dillian Whyte had adverse finding in his VADA test. Couldn't believe it. I mean, it was like deja vu all over again and total shock. And then from there, you have to go to work. The first thing you have to do, and we didn't get an opportunity to do it till the morning, was to speak to Anthony Joshua. I wasn't sure whether he'd want to fight. What I got was someone that was desperate to fight. And not just saying it, but this has been one of the best camps he's had in his career. He's been working so well with Derek James. His sparring's been fantastic. And he just said to me, who can I fight? And from there, you go out and you go into the Wild West of who wants it, who doesn't want it, who's trying to get some exposure, who's trying to make a fortune. And, we wanted someone who could prepare him for Deontay Wilder. We wanted someone who was credible. We wanted someone that would come to fight. We wanted someone that we could do a deal with at pace. And that's important when you've got 6 days to go till a fight. And we got to Robert Helenius, who, we know has had some big wins in America. Got chinned by Wilder, but came to fight, and that's why he got chinned. And I don't think it's a disgrace to get knocked out like that. But most importantly, was in shape, boxed on Saturday, got a stoppage victory.
Eddie Hearn there talking about how this all came about and the shock of Dillian Whyte testing positive. Look, I have to kind of give thumbs up to everyone here that has dealt with this. So going from AJ to 258 management to DAZN to Eddie Hearn to not just scrap the whole card. I think it was easy to kind of say, okay, look, if AJ isn't fighting, scrap the whole card. But AJ said he wanted to fight, and here we are now. And credit to AJ as well. I spoke to Eddie Hearn this afternoon, and look, if this event as it is not a pay-per-view event, he says AJ's money doesn't just get cut in half. It's way more than that. AJ's taken a massive, massive pay decrease on this to continue the fight, which I think is good. He did say to me another name today, and that was Agit Kabayel. And he said that was their first choice. So they actually reached out to Agit Kabayel. Agit Kabayel was actually in line to fight AJ before Dillian Whyte. When they thought the Dillian Whyte fight was going to stall, they reached back to Agit Kabayel, and then they went with Dillian Whyte because Dillian Whyte agreed. But they said Agit Kabayel wanted far too much money. And it just makes me laugh how these fighters, especially Kabayel, who's only been fighting once a year since he beat Chisora in 2017, price themselves out of these kind of opportunities. I don't quite get it, Gareth.
No, it's all about how quickly you can deal with people, how easy. No, because they're all playing poker with each other. And Helenius would have been easy to deal with. He's a wizened veteran. He knew it was an opportunity. I mean, I know Derek Chisora was mentioned. Eddie ruled that out to me earlier. He also ruled out Gerald Washington was considered, by the way, but they didn't feel that was the right fit. I'm glad they didn't go for Washington. There had been a lot of moaning and groaning. Even though Washington, by the way, has got victory over Helenius, which is ironic.
Crazy.
But they've done the right thing. And I spoke to Robert Smith as well today, the Secretary of the Boxing Board of Control, who said, honestly, behind the scenes, keeping the fight on is so much hard work. And he applauded Eddie Hearn as well. And obviously they need to do the medicals with Helenius very quickly. That's a big aspect of it. But we haven't mentioned here, I know I mentioned the fans at the top and the hotels booked. You know what it's like when we go to these, I don't say after parties, but when we go to the 2 or 3 hotels around the O2 Arena, they are ram jam packed out with people that go to these fights. They've already had the disappointments of a year ago in October when Benn and Eubank was cancelled. And also for the 14 other fighters on the card, they now get paid as well. You know, Maisie Rose, Johnny Fisher, all these guys who aren't big names, they all get paid. I think it'll be a great celebratory night, and I expect it to be full. I'm going to be there in the afternoon, by the way, with Spencer Oliver at the Slug and Lettuce, with big John Fisher, and also the next day with IFL and Eddie Hearn, and on stage at Indigo and Kugan Cassius. I am not going to stop this week and this weekend. So looking forward to it. And the reason I say that is that this fight going ahead is good for the industry. This event staying on, Eddie, is good for the industry. And I don't say it because we're just working. I say it because the flatness from it not going ahead affects the entire sport.
Yeah, agreed. I think people need to understand that. Again, you mentioned the fighters; those are the most important people.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's almost this trickle-on effect, like on people that it affects, including myself and you as well. Everyone that works in the industry. I mean, an AJ fight is something different.
Yeah.
So it needs to go ahead. I did ask Eddie about. Obviously, he said, "Look, you can get a ticket refund if you bought for AJ White and you don't want AJ Helenius, you can get a refund." I asked him how many refunds have actually happened, and he said just over 150. So he said no one really is wanting a refund. Most people still want to see an AJ fight. AJ is the selling event here, and most people still want to see that, which is impressive. If you were AJ's manager, would you agree to this fight? Would you say no, scrap it, we wait for Wilder? What would you do?
No, I'd have gone ahead with it. Because he's got to show that he's mentally strong. There could be the PTSD from the Ruiz defeat, but they've done the right thing. I definitely would have gone ahead with it.